Hello, everyone. My name is Chelsea Johnston, and today I will be talking about the path goal theory. I will begin with some objectives of what we will be talking about throughout this presentation, starting with what is the path goal theory, the history of the path goal theory, what it is, as well as the basics and background of the path goal theory, the usefulness of this theory, highlighted characteristics about this theory, strengths as well as weaknesses, and application to nutrition as well as future work. To briefly explain what the path goal theory is, the path goal theory of leadership is a theory based on specifying a leadership style or behavior that best fits the employee and work environment in order to achieve a goal. The goal of this theory is to enhance follower performance and follower satisfaction by focusing on follower motivation as well as the nature of the work tasks. Continuing with path goal theory basics, the basic ideas behind path goal theory leadership are to define goals, to clarify the path, to remove obstacles, as well as provide support. Leaders need to tailor their direction as well as delegate for every occasion. A leader must analyze the situation and provide followers with the specialized support they need in order to meet the goal at hand. Moving on to some history of the path goal theory, the path goal theory was created in 1970 by Martin Evans. It was then modified in 1971 by Robert House. According to House's theory, the behavior of leaders is contingent upon the satisfaction, motivation, and the performance of their subordinates. House states that the goal of the leader is to help followers identify their personal goals as well as understand the organization's goals with the hopes of achieving both. House and Dessler contributed to this theory in 1974. House also contributed to this theory with Mitchell in 1974. House and Mitchell introduced 4 leadership styles based on the 3 attitudes that were exhibited by subordinates. Moving on to the background, the path goal theory was incredibly innovative in the sense that it shifted attention to follower needs as well as motivations and away from the predominant focus on task and relationships. In contrast to the situational approach that suggests that the leader must adapt to the development of the level of the followers, the path goal theory emphasizes the relationship between the following: leadership style, the characteristics of the followers, as well as the organizational setting. According to House, the heart of the path goal theory suggests that leaders must engage in behaviors that complement subordinates' environments as well as their abilities. Moving on, there are 4 main leader behaviors that are acknowledged by the path goal theory. Those behaviors include directive, path goal clarifying leaders, achievement-oriented leaders, participative leaders, as well as supportive leaders. Starting with directive leaders, this leader clearly defines what is expected and tells them how to perform their task. It is thought that by providing explicit expectations and removing ambiguity, followers will have the clarity needed in order to do their job. Next are the achievement-oriented leaders. These leaders set challenges for and challenging goals for followers and expect them to perform at their highest level and show confidence in their ability to meet expectations. This behavior is especially needed in situations in which tasks or relationships are psychologically or physically distressing. In addition to bringing significant expectations for followers, achievement oriented leaders show a high degree of confidence that followers are capable of establishing and accomplishing challenging goals. Moving on to the participative leader. This leader seeks to collaborate with followers as well as involve them in the decision-making process. This behavior is dominant when subordinates are highly personally involved within their work. This particular leadership style can also result in increased group performance through member participation and dedication to shared goals. Lastly are the supportive leaders. The main role of this leader is to be responsive to the emotional as well as the psychological needs of their followers. Leaders that use supportive behaviors go out of their way to make work pleasant for followers, which in turn provides followers with the confidence necessary in order to succeed. In addition, supportive leaders treat followers as equals, as well as giving them the respect that they deserve for their status. Moving on, similar to the leadership characteristics, the path goal theory highlights several follower characteristics that play a role in the success of the task at hand. These characteristics include needs for affiliation, preferences for structure, desire for control, which include internal locus of control as well as external locus of control, and self-perceived lack of task ability. In the needs for affiliation, the path goal theory predicts that followers who have a strong need for affiliation prefer supportive leaders. This is because friendly and concerned leadership is a source of satisfaction. Next is preferences for structure. This is said to be descriptive of followers who are dogmatic, meaning asserting opinions in an arrogant manner and opinionated, as well as followers who are authoritarian and have to work in uncertain situations. These followers best respond to a directive leadership style because it provides more structure as well as clarity. Then there is desire for control, which includes internal and external locus of control. The followers' desire for control have received special attention in the path goal research through studies of a personality construct locus of control that can be subdivided into internal and external dimensions. Followers with internal locus control believe that they are in charge of the events that occur in their life. For these followers, path goal theory suggests participative leadership for them. In comparison, followers with external control believe that chance, fate, or outside forces determine life events. For these followers, path goal theory suggests more of a directive leadership style. And lastly, another way in which leadership affects followers' motivation is the followers' perceptions of their own abilities to perform a specific task. As a follower's perception of their own abilities and competence goes up, the need for directive leadership in turn goes down. Directive leadership becomes redundant and perhaps excessively controlling when followers feel competent to complete their own work. Along with leadership behavior and follower characteristics, task characteristics have an impact on the success of a goal as well. The path goal theory is a leadership theory that proposes that a leader's style should be modified depending on certain situational variables. The effectiveness of a manager's leadership style is influenced by the employee and workplace characteristics. These characteristics include team dynamics as well as task structure. In addition to follower characteristics, task characteristics have a major impact on the way a leader's behavior influences followers' motivation. The style a leader adopts must be contingent upon the task structure. Tasks that are less clearly defined may require a more participative and supportive leadership style because these employees will require greater coaching in order to complete the tasks. A directive style may be more effective if the task is simpler and has a high degree of structure. The task characteristics include the design of the follower's task, the formal authority system of the organization, as well as the primary work group of the followers. So, how does the path goal theory work? The path goal theory provides a set of assumptions about how various leadership styles interact with characteristics of both the followers and the work setting to affect motivation. In the work setting, this theory provides direction. This theory suggests that leaders need to choose a leadership style that best fit the needs of the followers and the work that they will be doing. The directive leadership works best with followers who are dogmatic and authoritarian, while the task is ambiguous with unclear roles and complex. The supportive leadership works best for followers who need affiliation and are taking part in repetitive and unchallenging tasks that may seem mundane. Participative leaders are best when the followers need clarity and the task is ambiguous. And achievement-oriented leaders are most effective in a setting where followers have high expectations and are also required to perform ambiguous tasks. Moving on to the strengths of the path goal theory. This theory provides many advantages to leadership in the workplace. These advantages include that this theory was one of the first theories to specify 4 conceptually distinct varieties of leadership. This also expands on the focus of prior research, which was task and relationship-oriented behaviors. This theory also attempts integrating the motivation principles of expectancy theory into a theory of leadership. No other leadership approach has dealt directly with motivation in this way. The approach is practical in nature, in that it is a ready-made recipe for leaders to use in an organizational setting. This theory provides a very useful theoretical framework for understanding how various leadership behaviors affect follower satisfaction as well as work performance. While there are many strengths to the path goal theory, there are also several weaknesses that are important to highlight. These include the following. There are few large studies that provide support for this method. It can also be too complex. The path goal theory can be so complex and incorporates so many different aspects of leadership and related to contingencies that interpreting the theory can be confusing. The theory does not account for gender differences in how leadership is enacted and perceived. The claims of this theory also are yet to be fully substantiated. The research does not provide a consistent as well as unified picture to the basic assumptions. The path goal theory also fails to explain the relationship between leadership behavior and worker motivation. When looking at applications of path goal theory to nutrition, I found an article on leadership styles in nursing management and implications for staff outcomes. This article explains that leadership occurs any time a person attempts to influence the beliefs, opinions, or behaviors of individuals or groups. More often than not, people will be responsible for some type of leadership opportunity within their life. Learning from this research can help prepare us for future situations that we will encounter. Leadership styles in nursing management, implications for staff outcomes, was a study that employed a cross-sectional survey design to collect data from a sample of 273 nursing staff in 5 hospitals in the eastern region of Ghana. Descriptive and regression analysis were performed using SPSS version 18. In this article, it explains that nurses utilized all 4 of the leadership styles when depending on the situation. While we are not in nursing, this is extremely applicable to anyone who is in the healthcare field. In order to be successful, the situational leadership style is required to deal with specific circumstances as and when they arise. This possibly explains why the nurse managers exhibited all 4 leadership styles, including the supportive, achievement-oriented, participated, and directive leadership within this study. As a result, nurse managers used different leadership styles depending on the situation, but were more inclined to the supportive leadership style, followed by the achievement-oriented leadership style and participative leadership style. Another example of the path goal theory in nutrition is shown in an article, Leadership Styles for Food Service Managers. The purpose of this study was to explore food service managers' leadership styles and to investigate the effect of situational leadership styles on subordinates' motivation for work effectiveness. The population for this study was 273 on-site food service managers and employees at a large public comprehensive university in the Midwestern part of the United States. A PGL instrument adapted from a path goal leadership theory investigation of superior subordinate relationships by INVIC was employed for this study. The instrument was made up of 20 questions referencing 4 different leadership styles. In addition, 15 demographic questions regarding the profiles of the participants were added. With 2 groups being utilized, managers and subordinate employees, this study indicated that there is no one-size-fits-all leadership style for food service managers. Instead, it was shown that the appropriate leadership style depends on subordinates' characteristics, the job task's complexity, and the subordinate's competency level. Another result from another objective in this study indicated that supportive, participative, and achievement-oriented leadership styles had a positive impact on predicting subordinates' motivation for work effectiveness. Therefore, food service managers who intend to enhance work effectiveness via subordinates' motivation are encouraged to employ supportive, participative, and achievement-oriented leadership styles. When paying attention to usefulness for future work, it's important to recognize that leadership is something that everyone will experience in some way through their life. The ability to address each situation as its own is important in order to have a clear vision of what is needed from the task at hand. Path goal theory teaches adaptability. Understanding your environment, tasks, and peers or followers can help encourage success in your future. Thank you.